After a long, grueling summer, the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship has come down to two men. Kawasaki's Ryan Villopoto, 2 overall wins. He is the current Supercross champion. The rider Kawasaki deemed worthy to bring them a championship. Suzuki's Ryan Dungey, 3 overall wins. A rider who has fought through adversity to sit on the doorstep of back-to-back titles. 2 rounds remain. The final opportunities for these riders to face off head-to-head and settle it on the track. The Steel City Motocross is set to get underway right now.
It's a beautiful Labor Day weekend just outside of Pittsburgh. The perfect setting for the next to last round of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. From Delmont, Pennsylvania, it's the Steel City National. And we have already completed a very exciting and dramatic championship battle in the first moto today. We'll give you the highlights. Ryan Dungey, the number 1, going to steal the early lead from the number 17 of Justin Barcia. Great position for Dungey. Then Ryan Villopoto following his championship rival through. He's going to get past the 17, and then the showdown we were waiting for, the 1 versus the 2.
And as Villopoto was applying the pressure to Dungey, he makes a small mistake, goes off the track, but keeps the lead.
Brett Metcalf moving up on Barcia to try to take over third. Barcia hits some mud, and Metcalf takes advantage, and that corner would loom large. Because here we go, the last turn of the race. Dungey still in the lead. Villopoto on the outside grabs a handful of throttle. Well, Dungey makes a mistake, and Villopoto wins the moto. Incredible. Welcome to Steel City. Jason Wygant, of course, joined by 4-time AMA National Champion Jeff Emig. Let's give you the big picture storylines we'll be covering as we headed in the second and final race of the day at Steel City. First of all, Brett Metcalf won the overall a week ago in Massachusetts. We're looking to see if someone can get into the title picture and maybe spoil it for one of the Ryans. Many could get wins in this series, and he is, remember, the teammate of Ryan Dungey. But if you look at the series standings, it's all about Villopoto and Dungey. Only 8 points between them, and Villopoto just logged a huge first moto win straight up over Dungey earlier today. So I swing it over to you, Jeff Emig. That was a heartbreaking loss for Dungey to lead every turn, essentially, except the last one. What does that do for him mentally? Is he going to be fired up for this race, or is that going to break him?
Well, Dungey is mentally tough, but I tell you, that's devastating because it is a must-win every step of the way for Ryan Dungey. On the flip side, for Ryan Villopoto, that was a huge win. Even though it doesn't guarantee the championship in any way, it's another step closer, and that was some exciting racing. I just wonder if Dungey can come back and regroup here for Moto 2.
Well, that'll be the big question as we're about to go racing. But first, let's send it down to the third member of our broadcast team, Aaron Bates, with a progressive pre-race report.
As the temperatures continue to rise, so has the drama of this championship. And Ryan, right now you're sitting 11 points ahead. You still got that stone cold look on your face right now. What exactly are the thoughts that are rolling through your mind?
Just get out here in the second moto and just finish it off. You know, be strong and get good starts and just try to stay out of trouble. I mean, we're not out of the woods yet, by no means, but you know, the first moto was a tough one. I was able to get around him last corner before the checkered flag, so you know, I feel good. Made a small bike changes for the second moto, so I'm looking forward to it.
Best of luck to you. And lined up directly beside Ryan Dungey, Ryan, devastation just took place in that last moto. How do you mentally regroup and come out swinging in this moto?
I wouldn't call it devastation. You know, it's a lot of racing, 3 motos, but bummer there at the end. But you know, it was good. It was good, a good effort, good solid moto. I think important to get out here, get a good start again, and really put ourselves in a good position. And it's going to be tough, but we'll ready for the battle.
Last week, Suzuki's Brett Metcalf survived Southwick and joined the list of overall winners in the 2011 season. When the gate drops on Moto 2 from Pennsylvania, Jason, Jeff, and Aaron will see who will prove worthy at the Steel City Motocross. Round 11 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship is right around the corner.
Speed's coverage of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship is brought to you by Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world. By the 2011 Toyota Tundra, one of the most capable half-tons ever. and by RockyMountainMC.com, your one-stop shop for parts, apparel, and accessories. RockyMountainMC.com. Get ready. Welcome back to Steel City. There are your two championship combatants, the 1 and the 2 of Dungey and Villopoto. We'll focus on them in a moment, but first, it's our track map. And of course, this all brought to you by Kawasaki and the all-new KX450F, which is fully equipped and race ready. Jeff, give us a tour.
Got to be important to get a good start and put down a little bit of water on the track today, and this clay has really hardened up. So on lap 1, it's going to be messy and it's going to be slippery. Now this highlighted section, you're going to have to get through that rhythm section that is turning left. I cannot stress enough how much elevation change there is on this track, uphill and downhill. Even on our TV screen, where the track looks a little bit flat, it's still on a grade. And here comes that final turn where Dungey gave up the lead to Villopoto. That was a tough one to take.
GoPro onboard lap of the GoPro Hero Cam. Nick Way and the Rockstar Valley Motorsports Yamaha. What are you seeing here, Jeff?
I'm seeing early morning practice, and the track's nice and moist and fluffy. A little bit of mulch there. You can tell because the sun is behind them, but it has changed, and the track's going to be tough here this moto. It's going to be tough for traction, as it was the first moto. But more importantly for our title contenders, it's all about getting a good start and having a clean race.
We're going to race for 30 minutes and 2 laps, 40 riders in this moto. One moto already complete today. Villopoto won it. There you see the rest of the lineup there at the top of the screen in order of their finish in that first race today. You got to watch out for Metcalf, Barsha, Reed, Weimer, Brayton, Alessi, all those riders to maybe get in the mix and spoil it for the Ryans. Not going to happen. Both of the Ryans get to the first turn up front. It is Dungey with the whole shot. Villopoto right there. Then it's Alessi on the 800 and the 22 of Reed.
Pretty good start for Chad Reed there on that 2-2 Motorsports Honda. Championship is all but gone for him, and now it's about the pride. And early in the season, he had the wins, he had the points lead and all that, so we'll see if he can put it together here in Moto 2 at Steel City.
And Villopoto around the outside of Dungey and immediately goes to the lead. Can Dungey respond? He's stuck on the outside of that left-hander, and Villopoto makes the pass stick.
Wow, Villopoto, he's got that 11-point lead after Moto 1. In the next 3 motos, the last 3 motos of this championship, he does not have to beat Dungey to win the title, but we spoke during the break. He's got the momentum, right? He's got the mojo working. No need to give it up now. It's all about going out and just putting together the best rides that you can each and every time.
And he knows Dungey's going to give it everything he has, and he is. He's trying to get back past the number 2. How about Reed hanging out in 3rd?
And that's why Villopoto is not going, okay, I can just ride behind Dungey here for the rest of this moto.
Whoa.
He knows that he has Chad Reed to contend with. He knows he has Brett Metcalf and the wild child, Justin Barsha, a whole host of riders that would love more than to get out and win Moto 2 here at Steel City.
And Villopoto jumped that big turning double jump, and Dungey has some company from Reed as Villopoto gets away. And here's Reed going for the 2nd place spot.
Dungey taking a look over his right shoulder. He sees Chad Reed there. Oh, look at the bike skating around. Woo. And see, right there where they were landing, it's been pretty dry all day. The water seems to be put to the right side of the track right there.
Riders trying to find the best line through that corner. A lot of ruts, a lot of chop coming in and out of these corners. Ah, trouble for number 17 of Barsha.
Yeah, he was hammering his clutch lever, which is on the left side of the handlebar. That hammering that clutch perch up. It's like he hit one of those wet spots and put the Honda down on the ground.
All right, so he'll have to work his way through. He's got some fast riders right in front of him, including Justin Brayton, who was on the podium here last year. So we'll see if these guys can follow each other through. There's Michael Byrne right behind Barsha. So the first lap is complete. Villopoto leads Dungey and Reed. Villopoto has been so fast early in the races. That is where he has done a lot of the damage in the races he has won this year. We have seen Dungey with some strong closing laps, but really, these guys are so hard to pick an advantage in any one particular race between these two.
Yeah, and this is going to be a challenging time for Ryan Dungey. This lap right here, knowing that Villopoto went by, because now he's got to do something special. I mean, right now he's watching the points leader wheelie away again. So he's got to regroup, and it doesn't have anything to do with the bike, the team, anybody else. It's all about, you know, the rider and how deep they can dig mentally, right, to overcome this. So we'll see if, you know, because it's important for Ryan Dungey to put the pressure on Villopoto. You never know, he may make a mistake, pitch the bike away. That's the type of mind games that you play with your competitor.
A couple other riders to watch here. Get the 32 of Weimer, then the 11 of Chisholm, then it's Brayton and Barsha back up. All these riders fighting inside the top 10. Barsha to the inside on Brayton. And Brayton able to cover it and get back to the inside.
Yeah, and see this rhythm section right there. They do that 2-2, have to take a break, do the single, and then double out. This drop off right here is awesome because you come down there, hit all those bumps, and try to. Barsha was off the track.
Ah, that's normal for him. That's why we call him the wild child. He is actually closed up once again behind Brayton. Here's a rider to watch. Behind them, the 42 of Nico Izzy. I believe it's his first race ever on a 450, has just made the move on Michael Burns. You'll see him coming through right behind this battle between Brayton on the 10 and the 17 of Barsha. There's the Yamaha rider, Nico Izzy. First race with this team, Valley Motorsports Yamaha, first race on the big bike. And working their way back toward the starting line area. Brayton gonna try to hug the inside. Barsha doing the same.
Yeah, and you've got your running order across the top of the screen right there. And as it comes back around, you're gonna see Villopoto in front. Dungey second, Reed third, but Reed's in second now, and let's take a look at why.
And yeah, what happened here to Dungey?
Dungey gets in that inside groove. See him, the yellow Suzuki there as Villopoto comes up over the double. Almost completely loses the bike, manages to keep the handlebars in his hands, but he gave up the spot to Reed. That's going to put Reed up to second.
And give Villopoto an even bigger lead. Is that a result of Dungey pushing it a little extra hard, knowing Villopoto was getting away?
Sure, he's going for it. He's trying to do anything he can to catch the number 2 here on this Monster Energy Kawasaki.
Well, what can you say about this rider's ability under pressure? Villopoto responding late in the first moto and then coming out here in Moto 2. Wouldn't think the championship's on the line. He is riding cool, calm, and collected, and he's got a big lead. Can he hold it? Well, we'll see. We're early in this race, but as Dungey shows, anything can happen on this track. Anything can happen in the pits, too, especially with the RC cars out there, courtesy of Traxxas. Come check it out the next time you come to one of these races live. Good times here in the pits in Steel City. Not so good on the track if you're Ryan Dungey. He's got to dig deep and find something special to come back through traffic. Is back with an all-new cringe-inducing episode. See more painful lessons learned the hard way on The Dumbest Stuff on Wheels, Wednesday night at 8 Eastern, only on Speed. Ryan Villopoto trying to get away here with the pressure beginning to mount in this Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. What this guy has been through in the last year. Basically, didn't even race motocross for 2 years due to injury. Last year, I think that one really stung because he has battled with Ryan Dungey a lot through the years. He was powerless to stop Dungey in 2010 because Villopoto was out with a broken leg. Now he's got a chance to win this one for himself. He's doing a great job of it. Here is Dungey, the #1, challenging Chad Reed for second. Yeah,
and I think you have to go back even a few more years for Ryan Villopoto when he had that wrist injury and they had to take the navicular bone out of his wrist. And at the time, their doctors were saying that it might only last 2 or 3 years in that condition, and that after that, his wrist would be locked up. They might have to fuse it.
Dungey to the inside on Reed. Sorry about that, Jeff. And we were wondering if Reed could mix it up with these guys. He did for almost 10 minutes. Take us through the pass that Dungey was able to execute there. Was that a mistake by Reed, or was that just a good move by the Dunge?
Yeah, Dunge is on fire right now. He realizes there's a real sense of urgency. And, of course, the championship, we still have 2 more motos after this one. But let's take a look at the replay here of this pass. See, Chad's on the inside, and Dungey just holds a little bit tighter line and does that last double around there. And that's one of the characteristics of this track is that they, over the years, they always have those turning rhythm sections. And when you're on and you're flowing, you can just hit those things to perfection, but make one little mistake, you lose a position.
Whoa! And Dungey tried that big double.
Wow.
That's the downside of not hitting the downside, essentially.
That's a wrist breaker right there. You know, when you come up short, That was a hard hit for Dungey.
You see the lead that the Reed-Dungey battle has built over Metcalf, who's the number 4 spot. They were nearly 9 seconds ahead of him. So Reed was definitely running the pace, at least early. We'll see if he can stay with the number 1. There's Metcalf. Yeah, he did win the race last week at Southwick, but you can't find conditions much more opposite from last week's race and then this one, Jeff.
Yeah, quite a bit different, but Brett Metcalf, I mean, this is kind of his spot where he's at right here, and he starts up front. He usually can mix it up a little bit with them, but kind of right now those 3 leaders have really got a little edge on him each lap.
And then it's Michael Lessie coming through next. He is a top 5 in the series standings, right behind Metcalf, and then of course Reed, Dungey, Villopoto. Still have not seen those trademark hole shots from Alessi. Got on the 450 bike this year. Last year he rode a 350, didn't get the starts, but
well, he did get 1 hole shot on the 350 at Hangtown.
Yeah, right at the beginning of the year,
and he won the moto,
yeah.
Right? And all was good at that point, okay? So he made the switch to the 350 this year. I mean, I'm sorry, the 450, but just not putting it together. And in his career, he's been one of the best guys off the start that I've ever seen.
Yeah, but not able to find that magic right now. Let's talk about this guy, Kyle Chisholm, who has had numerous surgeries recovering from a big crash in Supercross. Good to see him back in 7th. Then he's got Brayton and Barsha, who are still battling right behind him. Brayton on the Muscle Milk Toyota Joe Gibbs Racing Yamaha, and Barsha on the Factory American Racing Honda. And Nico Izzy was in front of those guys, battling with those guys, and he's still right there. Aaron, what are you hearing on the number 17?
Well, it's pretty much the same thing that I've been hearing from every other rider and mechanic here today as well. They're all struggling to find any kind of traction, but Justin Barsha asked his mechanic, Brett Pesnell, for a little extra change, a rear shock spring change, looking for a little additional comfort and to smooth out that ride.
I'm not big on assumptions, but if I was going to make a change, it's probably going to be in this situation to lighten up the rear spring, to soften up the back of the bike a little bit here. But you know, I don't know about that traction thing. I mean, when we went from 252 strokes to 450s, 450's got so much better traction, right? And that was the big thing. There's a lot of horsepower here. The thing that you need to do is learn how to ride the bike in a lower RPM. I mean, I would say that I mean, our 2 guys, the 2 Ryans up front, especially Villopoto, he's really good on that 450 at keeping the RPMs down, and that's throughout the testing and practice, is developing his bike and his setup to be lower RPM, and that's when the bike really hooks up. Of course, we know Barsha throughout his career on a 250. He's a rever. He likes to get the RPMs up there, and so probably has to make a little adjustment to what his own style is here on the 450, because you start to wind this 450 out, and you know, the chassis and the suspension, it locks it all up, and it reacts way differently than a 250 does.
You got Brayton has gotten around Chisholm, and then it's Barsha. I want to go back to that. That is a strange thing on these bikes the riders talk about. When the engine RPMs are higher, it actually changes the way the bike handles. The bike doesn't want to turn. Yeah, the gyroscopic forces, is that what it is? That's a weird thing, how that works.
You got my notes package I sent you.
That's freaking chart.
450's 101.
And then this guy, let's focus in on the Canadian, Colton Fasciotti, who got a 5th in a moto last week and has now picked up a ride with the Lucas Oil Troy Lee Honda team. What are the keys for Fasciotti here? Our Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com keys to the race.
Well, looks like he put himself in a pretty good position here on the first lap. Looks like he's flowing pretty good right now. Fasciotti running a 2:38, quite a ways off of our leader, but of course we know our leader is having one of the day of days. But still, it's a fantastic job for him to come in and step into this team here, you know, late in the season to ride a new bike. All of those changes there, and of course he's a champion of Canada. And right now we're going to see how he can finish this moto off.
Right behind Nick Way, who's there on the number 27. Fasciotti's filling in for the injured Christian Craig, who broke his wrist last week at Southwick. Too bad. Craig had some great rides earlier in the year, but I guess bad news for one is good for another. Fasciotti's picked up a ride with that team, and then behind them is Kyle Regal. Just came through next on the number 30. Then a big gap back, waiting for the next rider to come through, and I believe it's going to be Bobby Fitch. It's going to come through next on the 185. Then it's Les Smith.
I think Smith might have got through there now.
And that is Smith on the 44, Fitch in front of him, then the 45 of Freeze.
course, Les Smith, a fill-in on the Toyota Muscle Milk Yamaha team, and at a season best last week. Huge confidence builder, and this is not the first time that he's been a fill-in for Joe Gibbs Racing. Yeah. This is his second shot.
Yeah, second shot this year. Yeah, when Brayton was hurt earlier in the year, he filled in for him. Now it's Davey Millsaps who's out with a knee injury. So Smith will be here for the final 2 rounds. And a bunch of Yamaha teams to watch. Not only Smith, but also this Rock River Yamaha Freeze on the 45 looking to make the pass. No, Smith's got it blocked. They're all over Fitch. They have yet a third different team Yamaha machine behind them in Ben LeMay, who's on the Moto Concepts machine. Great racing out there in the track. Chad Reed trying to keep up with Ryan Dungey and Ryan Villopoto.
On an all-new episode of The Car Show, NBA All-Star Zach Randolph stops by to show off some of his rides. Matt goes to town at the Ford Proving Grounds.
That was a high-quality run.
And I find out what skeletons you've stashed in your trunk. What do we got in the trunk? A walking stick.
Yes.
Although you don't look like you do a lot of walking. If it's got 4 wheels and an engine, we got you covered. Wednesday at 10 on Speed.
Your car is everything. Your taxi, your moving van, your baby. And for over 30 years, AutoZone has had the parts you can count on to keep it going. But parts are just part of what we do. We're part buddy, part mentor, part of the American way of doing things. So whether you're Mr. DIY or a master mechanic, AutoZone has your back. Parts are just part of what we do.
Get in the zone.
AutoZone.
Oh, there he goes. Dungey to the #1 spot. Wow, and Dungey letting it hang out. Checkered flag is out. Ryan Dungey wins. He started behind his rivals. He passed him. He pulled away.
Go to AllyMotoshop.com for official series and rider merchandise, plus gear, parts, accessories, and more.
Keeping your pride and joy perfect is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Start with Slick Mist Speed Wax. Simply mist on and wipe off for a professional detailer shine. For your tires and trim, there's Lucas Slick Mist Tire and Trim Shine. Spray on and wipe off for better than new look. Then finish her with Lucas Slick Mist Interior Detailer. Just spray and wipe. Easy. Use Lucas Slick Mist Car Care products and she'll never look better. Fast, easy, and professional. Really, it's sort of like having an extra set of hands. Or 3.
Monster Jam on Speed, the Motorsports Authority.
Speed's coverage of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship is brought to you by Progressive Insurance, #1 in motorcycle insurance. Great racing here. You're watching the 45 of Vince Freeze. You're watching Bobby Fitch and the 526 of Ben LeMay. And these guys have been going back and forth here in this second 450 moto of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. And LeMay on the 526 makes the move. Kid out of Alaska who picked up a ride midway through this tour with Moto Concepts Yamaha. And making it work right now as he tries to voyage toward the top 10.
And it's a hot day here. 90 plus degrees, humidity levels is skyrocketing. I'm telling you, here in this second moto, we're a little past the halfway point, plus we have a couple laps. Man, physical fitness, if you're in shape like Ryan Villopoto, this is going to be a good day. But once he starts to make his way through some of the lap riders, and it's going to be tough for some of the back runners.
And Villopoto's lead at one point was 11 seconds. It looks like 15 now over Dungey. So he's doing a good job just laying down the laps into the second half of this moto. Villopoto's won titles before. He has to know that this could be the championship destiny. Really puts himself in a great position if he can hang on here, but it's tough on this track. And Dungey has cleared Reed. Send it down to Aaron. What do you got here on the weather, Aaron?
You guys were talking about the heat and the humidity, which is definitely unbearable today. These guys are riding around in it, but they were actually fatigued coming into this weekend. Now, not all, but most. last weekend's travel was affected due to Hurricane Irene. A lot of people got stuck when normally they would be home on a Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. Some didn't get home till Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and some of them did not even make it home whatsoever and came straight here to Pittsburgh. So it was definitely a short week for practice this week, on top of having the heat and humidity today.
Wow. And as we show you the weather that we're dealing with here, that's a lot of humidity. As you see, it almost feels like 100 degrees. And then Jeff, comment on that. These guys are on a program, all on a training routine, and when it gets thrown off with the travel problems last weekend, what kind of an effect does that have?
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely does, and it affects your, recovery plan, and so you have to adapt. I mean, everyone's the same, and I can tell you that even having status on an airline did not guarantee you the first flight out. It was, I mean, a lot of people had the travel disrupted.
Yeah, the Kawasaki guys, the mechanics barely made it back to the shop in California. They had one day basically to work on bikes, and then they flew right back to Pittsburgh. But that's what it takes if you want to win championships at this level. They know they got to put in the extra work. But the good news is they're only about 8 days away from the end of the year. And for this guy and this team, Monster Energy Kawasaki, it might be a very good 8-day span, because they're about to leave here with some big confidence and a larger points lead, although it's not over yet, that's for sure.
Yeah, and for Villopoto and Kawasaki, I mean, this is the first full season on the 450 that he's had. He started the season, injured the knee a couple years ago, and wasn't able to compete in it, but 3 times in the 250 class, 3 championships. Now he's got his first full season, you know, presumably on his way. He's got the title lead right now. Yep. Pretty good chance that he could lock this thing up 4 for 4.
Check out Justin Brayton here, who's in 7th, but beginning to close in on Jake Weimer. Barsha was behind Brayton for a little while. He's jumped about 6-7 seconds off of the number 10. So now Brayton is free to kind of go after Weimer. You can see as the laps have clicked off, he's gotten closer and closer, and Brayton really likes his track. He's won a moto here before. He's been on the podium overall. He's more of a supercross kind of guy. He was raised doing actually arena cross races instead of a lot of outdoor stuff, which is from Iowa. It's a little cold around there too, not just Alaska. So you race indoors a lot. The motocross thing doesn't come to him quite as well, so this track a little bit more technical, a lot of jumps, seems to work for his style, Jeff.
Yeah, this track, it takes a certain technique, even like that downhill left-hander before the Makita Mechanics area. You're coming downhill at an off camber, right? So it falls away to the right, and then there's other turns on the track where you're trying to accelerate up on the off camber, right? And this track, you're on the edge of the tire quite a bit. Like even right through there, it looks fairly flat, but if you walk that it really falls down to the left of our screen pretty dramatically. I'll tell you, I was, you know, in that area earlier today, and I was really surprised that this is a pretty steep downhill right here.
And Nico Izzy has gotten around the 17 of Barsha, so well done for Izzy. His first ever ride in this class. Compared to Izzy, Barsha is a veteran. This is his 3rd race on a 450. And speaking of veterans, here comes Michael Byrne. He's looking to put the number 26 past Barsha as well.
Well, Michael Byrne's wife Danielle is from this area, so they got a lot of family and friends here. And we talked to Burner just before the start of Moto 1, and he says, "Yep, I got to do it. I got a lot of family and friends around. I got to make it happen."
And he's fighting for it right now as he goes after Barsha. Barsha, a little mistake. That's just going to aid the cause of the Australian. Here's the Joe Gibbs Racing team. They're watching Brayton try to march toward a top 5. Welcome back to Steel City, and we were wondering why Justin Barsha was losing positions out on the track, and now he's lost all of them. Not sure if there's something wrong with him or the motorcycle, but the Cinderella ride so far for the rookie in the 450, well, something turned into a pumpkin. I'm not sure if it's him or the bike, but not so good this time.
Yeah, it looked pretty frustrating right now. That look on his face was not good. It's hard to speculate whether it was the man or machine.
And here's Villopoto working his way through lap traffic. Be careful there. Villopoto's got a nice lead over Dungey right now. And this is what Villopoto does. Jeff, you were there for the Supercross Tour. It came down really to the next to last race. It was very close on points. He pulled out a very clutch win over Chad Reed, Ryan Dungey, and the rest. And that gave him a little cushion headed into the finale. Not a big one. Title was still on the line. He's doing the same thing here. Of course, it starts with a good start. Take us through our progressive whole shot replay, Jeff.
Watching the middle half, the inside of the middle, and it's the yellow Suzuki here of Ryan Dungey, who gets in there just a wheel ahead of Reed and Villopoto. And that progressive hole shot will go to the reigning champion.
And then Villopoto was able to execute a quick pass, and then Dungey, while chasing him in second, went down. Not a big crash, but enough to let Reed get by him for second. And although Dungey has taken that spot back from Reed, he's not able to get close to Villopoto, who is really showing, again, cool under fire. He knows what's on the line today. He knows the advantage he can get heading into our live finale next weekend. If he wins this moto, he's looked at that pressure, he's staring it right in the face, and he's overcoming it.
I think the thought of that pressure and the idea of how riders handle that, to me, Villopoto has been one of the best ever. The only championship that it came down to it was the East Coast Supercross title a few years ago, where it came down to the final race between him and Trey Kennard, and Trey Kennard got the best of him. Outside of that, Villopoto has been rock solid. And even I go back to the motocross championship, the 250 championship in 2007, where Villopoto and Ben Townley were, teammates and locked up in one of the most intense battles, that I've ever witnessed. And he came out on top, and there were moments where you thought that, okay, he didn't have it. And then he always seems to surprise you when it's on the line. And the first moto win here today, that was incredible effort, and that the lesson there is to not give up. And it was through this exact same turn on the last lap of Moto 1 that he makes the pass. And I felt that first moto win was so important.
And that's what Villopoto does. He seems to rise to the occasion. He doesn't show a lot of dynamic emotion after the races, but you know that he knows how big this moment is right now. Let's send it down to Aaron, talk to Villopoto's mechanic.
Mike Williamson is Ryan Villopoto's mechanic. Mike, you guys are sitting in a great spot right now. Just about finished the day with one more race to go. What is the strategy for the championship at this point?
It's been the same so far, just win. We've just been trying to get wins, try to get a cushion going into the last round, and man, Ryan, he's unbelievable today. I cannot believe how good he's riding, and this one's going a little bit easier, so just get this one done, and then we'll make a plan for next week.
Rock solid, flawless ride for Ryan Villopoto so far today.
Yeah, he's sweating because it's hot out, but as far as the intensity, it's not quite the same as when Villopoto was chasing Dungey through the majority of the first race today.
Yeah, I mean, he knows. He said cushion. This thing isn't locked up.
No, not
a lot of
racing
left to go.
But Villopoto's looking good today at Steel City. The Flight 93 National Memorial is just east of Steel City, outside of Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Of course, remember on September 11, 2001, the U.S. came under attack when 4 commercial airliners were hijacked. This is the crash site of United Airlines Flight 93, and it honors the passengers and crew of that flight. Next Saturday, Phase 1 opens as Vice President Biden will be there for a memorial dedication. And then on Sunday, September 11th, President Obama is also scheduled to make an appearance commemorating 10 years since the attack. Ryan Villopoto continuing to do damage here as he does. And it's impressive, Villopoto's demeanor. There's no way you work this hard and want it this bad. But at the same time, when you talk to him between the races, even after the races, you don't see a lot of jubilant celebration. Even after he won the Supercross title in Vegas, even after he had won the title, it still just seemed like it was all business for this guy.
Yeah, he's very focused and very determined, individual. And he rarely, like you said, he rarely cracks a smile. But I got a feeling on the podium here, if he can finish off this second moto here with a win, give Kawasaki their 7th victory here in this class, then he'll crack a little smile.
All right. What's impressive to me is the system that Villopoto and Dungey have gone through. They are now really establishing themselves as the next great rivalry in this sport. This year, certainly a great challenge from Chad Reed. James Stewart was there in the Supercross Tour, but you got to figure as the years roll by, these two have really marked themselves as the new standard to beat in this sport, although you figure Reed, Stewart, and others are going to be there to challenge them. And for the most part, Dungey and Villopoto have been pretty nice to each other, but it did seem like things were getting more tense as this title came closer to the finale, and it became clear that it was going to be between those two.
Yeah, but at the beginning of the day, Jason, we spoke a lot about, I kept stressing how I felt that the Moto 1 victory was going to be so important, okay, because that's going to set the stage. And now you can see that the momentum shift here in I mean, it's only been, you know, a few hours since that moto started, and all of a sudden, you know, man, Villopoto has really got the momentum and all the confidence going into this race. And Dungey made that mistake, but he's also 20 seconds behind.
Right.
You know, so this is a big, big race here for Ryan Villopoto, and he does have a tendency of making that push, not waiting to the last race, like in Supercross.
Yep.
He really made the statement at the second to last round.
Yep.
Okay, just like he's done here today. I think there's really something to that with his, you know, intensity and saying, okay, I don't want to open the door at all. I want to keep it shut, and I want to keep this thing to myself.
It's amazing, you're right, how that one pass on the last lap of the first race today has totally changed everything for Dungey. He was on the verge of getting a win, straight up over Villopoto, closing back in points. And so you think that has had an effect on his riding here?
Yeah, it's had a massive effect because it put him, and also the pass on the first lap here, now instead of Dungey being able to control the race from the beginning, now he's all of a sudden in a sense of urgency. Okay, wait, I've already lost 3 more points today. It's up to 11.
Yeah.
Now I definitely have to make something happen, and then you tend to override it a little bit. The negative gremlins get in there and start affecting you, and you know it's one of them days. And same thing happened with Chad Reed here at 22, you know, after the race at Millville. I mean, he was unstoppable that day. And today, he's 53 seconds behind Villopoto at this point.
Right, and it's been proven throughout the year, right? Speed-wise, on their best day, it's really hard to pick a favorite between the 3 of them. They've all had wins this year. But as it's come down to the final stages, Villopoto's the one who's been able to stay strong.
Yeah, I mean, Chad Reed, he's got 7 moto wins and 4 overalls. That was more than anyone else this year.
Right.
But it all came at the beginning of the championship.
Here is Metcalf. This could be 3rd overall for him. If he hangs on with consistent finishes, finished a few positions in front of Reed in Moto 1, and will only be 1 position behind him here in Moto 2. Reed's probably going to be pumped to at least get up on the podium in this particular moto. But for the overall day, with the scores combined from the 2 races, Metcalf will be on the podium again. Metcalf always seems to come on strong late in the year. He did the same thing last season. It's actually challenging Dungey for wins down the stretch.
Well, and the interesting thing here for Metcalf, you know, he rode that Geico Honda last year.
Wow, look at Villopoto celebrating as he goes past the mechanics, the Makita mechanics area with a lap to go.
Waving to his mechanic and everybody. You know, I mean, he's in the zone right now. I mean, gelling together with this new Kawasaki 450. They made the switch a few weeks ago. You know, I mean, only Yamaha a few years back made a decision to ride the next year's bike.
Right.
I mean, you know, it's virtually unprecedented to do that. And so they've made this decision, the team, and got this new bike ready, and it's performed pretty well.
And you might say, hey, Villopoto won a lot of championships in the other class, the 250cc class, which is kind of the stepping stone into this. Oh, you knew this was going to happen, but a lot of people were wondering, you know, Villopoto's not the biggest guy, had a really aggressive style. A lot of people wondered, could he translate that style to the bigger bike? And it had been a rough go of it as far as injuries the first 2 years on this machine, but he's obviously answered all the questions now.
He certainly has, and I mean, this is a great ride here today. I mean, I want to stress, it's not over till it's over.
That's right.
You know, there's practicing and testing and everything else that can happen.
Last year,
this next week, and I mean, you even go back 1 year ago to the final round in the 250 class, where it was another Kawasaki rider, Christophe Pourcel, who seemingly had the championship locked up over Trey Kennard. I mean, the championship was in the bag, as they say.
Yeah.
And he crashed on his own in Moto 1 and did not finish. And basically that gave Trey Kennard the championship. So Villopoto knows what this is all about. And the best way to win the title is each and every week, each and every moto, just like today, go out and try to win the race. That, just like Mike Williamson said, we want to win motos.
So they're not thinking championship when they go to the gate. Nope. They're just thinking individual race.
Well, see, that's the thing, is you set your goals and you focus on the job at hand, you know. And I remember reading a book by Phil Jackson where he talked about that your coach
Jordan, Pippen, and all those guys about staying in the moment. Don't think about the NBA Finals. You think about this game or this free throw or, you know, that, and that's exactly what Villopoto does. He inches his way towards the title.
Well, if you want to break this season down to a moment, it could be that pass that Villopoto made on Dungey in this section in the first race earlier today. It has turned the tables as far as the momentum is concerned, and then he polishes it off with a fantastic performance, winning and leading every lap in the second moto today. Ryan Villopoto conquers Steel City and sets himself up for a championship next week. Well, folks, this might not just have been the move of the day. It might be the move that changed the entire season. Here's Ryan Dungey leading the way in our first moto at Steel City. Here's Ryan Villopoto. This is a game changer.
Dungey blocks the inside, as he should, but Villopoto around the outside.
That's it, makes the pass, wins the race with the pass in the last turn, comes back in our second race today and dominates it. He has swung the momentum his way. This guy is relentless. There have been many fast riders this year, a lot of guys that are in shape. They've all got great bikes. But the thing is that throughout both championship tours so far this year, he has never faltered. Other riders have had their problems. Villopoto has not. Here's the results of Moto 2. Reed, solid ride there for third. His countryman's right behind him. And let's send it down to Aaron on the podium with our winner.
It's as though he was on autopilot all day long. What a flawless ride it was for you. Ryan, what does this do now for your confidence? We've finally seen you smile as you head into the final round.
I mean, it's huge. You know, this is like, this is the Salt Lake race of outdoors for me. So, you know, I got a decent breather going into Paula. We'll just get through that. And, I mean, it's been an awesome year. I can't thank everybody at Monster Energy Kawasaki, Dunlop for the two great starts out there, and you know, Oakley, Thor, Parts Unlimited, my fiance, my trainer, everybody, thank you guys.
What else can you do this week to prepare for the final round?
You know, I'm just gonna maintain what I have and show up to Paula ready. Like I said, I have that gap now that it's a little more comfort, but for sure I want to go there, ride well, put a show on for you guys.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you.
Ryan Villopoto, victorious here at Steel City.
After 22 motos and 11 rounds of racing, it all comes down to this. We crown our champions 1 week from today at the season finale at Pala Raceway. Please join Jason, Jeff, and Aaron for 2 hours of live coverage starting at 7 p.m. Eastern for the finale of the 2011 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship.
Speed's coverage of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship is brought to you by Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world. And by the 2011 Toyota Tundra, one of the most capable half-tons ever. Welcome back to Steel City. The big crowd here just witnessed a game-changing, championship-changing, heck, career-altering second moto. We'll give you the Lucas Oil race recap and show you exactly how and why it turned out that way. We'll start, of course, with the start, which is Ryan Dungey getting out front early. But here's Ryan Villopoto around the outside, Jeff.
Yeah, Villopoto really trying to find a dry line as Dungey was protecting the inside, which was a little wet. He was a little bit tentative, and when they came around that left-hander, it was Villopoto.
And then Barsha goes down. He was one of the guys we thought might challenge those two. He crashes. He's got to work his way back. And then Dungey goes down chasing Villopoto, and Chad Reed gets to second. Then Dungey's able to repass Reed, but by then Villopoto, see him at the top of the screen, was long gone. And that's big because in the title fight, if Dungey had come out on top today, Villopoto would have had to have gone out and won the finale at Pala. Now Villopoto controls his own destiny. Let's go down to the podium with Aaron.
It's a never give up mentality for Ryan Dungey. And Ryan, you knew that it was now or never to make something happen. Was it possible that you may have overrode this track today a little?
I don't know if I overrode it or anything. I think I rode it pretty good. You know, I think first moto was really well, and he got by me there at the end of the thing. But you know, I went on a limb there, made some changes before the second moto, and just wasn't shining too good, man. Lost a little bit of ground and was struggling. But no excuses. He rode really good, and go to Paula, put our best effort in, and have some fun, and we'll go from there.
It's still not over. Congratulations on a job well done today.
All right, good to see Dungey still smiling. And that's the standard these guys have set. He finishes second. There's 38 other riders that wish they could have done that. but he knows he wanted the W. Metcalf ends up 3rd overall, edging out Reed. Weimer in the top 5, Alessi, Brayton, Regal, Way, Byrne is your final top 10 today. So I'm sure the Burner is happy about that. Let's send it down to Aaron with our 3rd place finisher.
It's always the rougher, the tougher the track, the more Metcalf seems to excel, but you've got your dad here cheering you on, and what is it about the late race or late season charge that you always tend to put in?
You know, just getting comfortable now. It took a long time for me to get comfortable and find the settings that were correct. You know, I just got to thank the Rockstar Makita Suzuki team for that. You know, I kind of messed it up early season testing and just wasn't up to speed, so now we are. But just want to thank all my sponsors, Thor Parts Unlimited, Scott Alpine Star, and everybody at Etnies. Man, it's been a great day again. Happy to walk away with Steel City on the podium.
And we'll show you what the scenario looks like heading into our finale live next week at Pala. A 14-point lead for Villopoto. That's not much. 25 points are paid to win a single moto, and we'll race 2 of them next weekend. So Dungey still has a shot.
He still has a shot, and there's so much practice and testing and everything, so much time on the bike, you know.
That's
right.
You
got to keep going all the way to that final checkered flag.
September 11th, the NFL regular season begins with a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. First, the Falcons take on the Bears in Chicago as 2 of the NFC's best go head-to-head. Then it's the Giants taking on the Redskins in D.C. or other regional action. Coverage begins Sunday, September 11th with the Built Ford Tough Fox NFL pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we've got 1 race left as we show you our Toyota upcoming schedule in this tour. We will have all 4 motos live on television next week. Our first motos, of course, covered on Fuel TV at 4 o'clock Eastern. That's 1 o'clock local time out in California. We'll take a little break, and then we'll be back with our live coverage of the final motos of the year on Speed. That's our Toyota moving forward schedule. Live every moto next week in Impala with everything on the line. The trophy that Villopoto has there, well, that is a step toward the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship, but he's got to do it again next weekend to make it happen. It is boiled down to 2 men, the Ryans, Villopoto and Dungey, as a rivalry begins to brew and the championship drama begins to rise. The showdown next weekend. Join us live on Speed. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Femming, I'm Jason Wygant. Congratulations to our winner, Ryan Villopoto, and we'll see you all live next week in California.